Starting out with weight-loading recipes. I've got something new here, and this one is the pressure cooker that air fries. And this is the Emeril Lagasse pressure cooker air fryer Duet. It, I guess, is along the lines of the Ninja Foodie, the New Wave Duet. It's a pressure cooker that also air fries, and this one is through Emeril Lagasse, so it's got, you know, his touches on it and his recipes he offers up. So I want to get this unboxed and we start going through this now. So inside here we've got some documentation to get us started. This is the manual, owner's manual, and basically tells you all about the unit. They got like a startup guide to just kind of get you off the ground. And this, you know, when you're dealing with like an Emeril cooker, is what you really, in my opinion, want. You want Emeril's recipe book, you know. You want to get some good recipes out of Emeril. And so he's got this recipe book here that, let's see how many pages it is. It's about 40, 45, no, a little more, 47 pages of his recipes. So got some good stuff there. Here they've got the a bonus that comes with this. I got this cooker, by the way, at Sam's. It's like $160 at Sam's, but they kind of limit you on some of the accessories that they give you. They do give you this lid that comes with it here. And for more accessories, like if you look in the video description, there's a link that I have to Amazon. You pay the same price, but you help the channel, and they have options for more accessories than you can even get it, you know, just buying it through Sam's, even though Sam's has a good price on it. But this here is the air fry lid. You see that? You know, it's got the air fryer there. Can show you around it. Now this is like where the air intake comes in, and the exhaust, the hot air exhaust, comes out the back of the air fryer lid there. So I'm going to just set that there. And this is the 8-quart Emeril Lagasse pressure cooker air fryer, by the way. They make a 6-quart version, but I personally went with the 8-quart because I've already got a 6-quart Instant Pot. And as people always say, when you start with a 6-quart, you always end up wishing you got an 8. And so that's why I got an 8-quart of this, because I wanted to try a pressure cooker air fryer and have the size that I've been wanting after doing a 6-quart when you move up to 8. Now this is the pressure cooker lid that's on here. It's got like some packing stuff on here. I'm just kind of getting off. So just pop that off and pop it back in. Now the pressure cooker lid, it's supposed to turn. You're supposed to be able to press it open and then turn and then pop off. And so when I pop it off, it's got some more packing material I got to get out of here. Alright, so in here I've got like a little stand to put things on. I guess it can kind of function like a pseudo trivet, although it doesn't have the handles, but something to set food on when I'm cooking or air frying. As far as extra accessories, you can also get like extra accessories on Emeril's site for this, but they make like a double stand that you could get for it, for like air frying and such, but this should work out just fine for air frying stuff. And this is the pot, the actual pot. Removing this inner paper. This pot is supposed to be stainless steel, but you can see it's kind of got like this kind of coating on it. It's not like Teflon, but some type of coating that's on this pot here. So this doesn't look like a stainless steel pot. This looks like more of a ceramic pot. I thought it was supposed to be a stainless steel pot, but it looks more like a ceramic pot that they gave me here. So I'm going to assume that's okay with the air fryer, even though it's not a pure stainless steel pot. I would doubt they would give me the air fryer lid and not be able to use it, so it must work with this pot that's got kind of some type of coating on it. It's You get this, I guess, to help you scoop food out. You get a little pin to help when you're inserting and removing this pin that's in here. We'll go into that a little later. This is like a measuring cup they give you here, so you get a measuring cup. I'm going to peel some tape off the back here. You got the condensation catcher cup there, and they just got that taped in. Here's a power cord. Looks like it's a standard short 3-foot power cord. It does have a grounding wire on the power cord, so that's a good thing. So you can have a look. Let's get this off of here. There's your power cord that you just stick in the. Let's see, stick down here in the bottom back here. So that's how you get that set up. So this is all that comes in the actual box if you get it like from Sam's Club. It's got the your 8-quart pot. You got the unit itself. You've got the pressure cooker lid. You've got the air fryer lid here. This air fryer lid. You've got the glass top there also. You get Emeril's recipes. You get a little something to put your food on. You get your manual, and you get your measuring cup, and you get this little scooping spoon there. So I'm just going to show you with this pressure cooker lid. You can take this out. Basically, if you got to clean it or something, this part here comes out. So just like that, how I pulled it out, you can get that out. And then you've got kind of like this lid here, this part here. You have to, take your gasket off. You can pull the gasket off, clean it. You can pull this, you can pull this out and get that cleaned off also. And you can take this top off and clean that. And you can get this little valve thing here. You can pop that off and clean it. And when you're putting it back in, that's when you use this little key thing here. I'll just show you if I can let you see there. You put this little key thing in to kind of keep it from going too far down, and then you can, whoops, I just did it. Now I'm going to have to fix it myself here with you. Alright, so let me show you. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but trying to get the pin straight through the hole. So now it's straight through the hole, and you can turn it like that, and the pin is in there holding that in place. So let's say you just cleaned it, and the pin holds that in place, and then you can put your little gasket on there, then pull the pin out, because the little thing here doesn't come up through the top like the Instant Pot. It kind of stays in. So that's how you do that. So just going to go ahead and put the inner lid back in here, because this has like an inner lid that goes into the lid there. Now with the pressure cooker lid, you kind of put it on, and kind of like with the Instant Pot, you kind of put it on, or other pressure cookers, and you kind of turn it in place. Now I'm just going to take it off, but the air fryer lid is different. You don't spin the air fryer lid. The air fryer lid, you kind of match up your notches, and you just set it on, just like that. You just set it on, you don't turn it, it doesn't turn, and you can do your air frying, you just plop it right in place. All parts except for this actual unit itself, basically this pot, the lids, everything except for this part here can be purchased separately on Emeril's website that he has for this cooker. So like if you ever need any replacement parts, they've got them all available, which is nice. Now this unit runs at 1550 watts and 120 voltage. I want to point out this is not for deep frying. It's not a deep oil fryer. It's an air fryer, so you're only supposed to use any very little light amount of oil. Alright, now I want to do some simple measurements of the cooker so that you just have an idea of this 8-quart pressure cooker air fryer size. So I'm just going to run a tape measure around the outside just so we can have an idea of how big it is around, and I'm coming up with about 39 inches or so around. So we see how big that is. Now if I just measure top to bottom, it's about a foot up, maybe about 13 inches high. And we just go straight across from like fin to fin here on the ends. It's about maybe 14 inches fin to fin, these fins here on the ends. Now we got the 8-quart pot, and this 8-quart pot, it has a fill line. The fill line on this 8-quart pot is very high. I mean, the fill line is right there where my finger is. I'm touching the fill line. So you can basically fill this pot up with a lot of stuff, and you know, the max fill line to me is a very high line. It gives you a whole lot of room for, you know, anything you want to cook. And just the pot itself, we can see the length of the pot is about 10 inches. And top to bottom, it's about 7 inches, but the fill line is just below 6 inches, so about 5 3/4 inches high, you reach that fill line. Alright, so now we have the Instant Pot Ultra 6-quart side by side against the Emeril Lagasse pressure cooker air fryer 8-quart. And you can see how much bigger. I mean, it's like, even though one is 6 and the other is 8, this one's so much bigger. You know, it seems like it's not just 2 quarts. It just is so much larger. But I just want to show, like with the Instant Pot, when you got a pressure release, you got this button here, and you can, you know, get your lid off. And here with the Emeril Lagasse, it's got this slider thing, and you pull that, and that pops up your pressure release, and then you can take the lid off. And as I've shown earlier, there's a difference inside of the lids. Like the Instant Pot lid just has a gasket. Your typical pressure cooker just has a gasket and has these other internals, whereas the Emeril has this inner type of lid system that you can pull off, and I've shown you what goes on in there, and then it just has the top part. Now I just want to show you with the pots, you know, if you're wondering about the difference between an 8-quart pot and a 6-quart pot, you can fit that 6-quart pot there. Now it looks like, you know, just 2 quarts difference when you're kind of comparing, you know, pot to pot. But this pot is way smaller than the bigger, larger Emeril pot for the 8-quart. Alright, so now on the Emeril pressure cooker, I've got the air fry lid. So if I were doing actual air frying, I'd be using this air fry lid that I've put on. And I just wanted to do a side by side of it with the Mealthy CripLid on the Instant Pot. Basically, these are the 2 lids. You can see this Emeril 8-quart lid is very large, very big heating element. The Mealthy has a much smaller heating element. So you can see side by side the heating elements of the Emeril air fryer for the pressure cooker versus the Mealthy CripLid. Kind of small heating element there. And this Mealthy will fit on top of the 8-quart Emeril pressure cooker. You know, I guess if my Emeril air fryer lid broke, I could probably put my Mealthy CripLid on here, but I doubt I'll be using the Mealthy on my Emeril. So that gives you an idea of the comparison there of the air fryer lids. Alright, so we've got the pressure cooking lid on. I have it in the open position. I just want to show you. They have, basically, when you put this lid on, there's a, basically like with other pressure cookers, a lock, and they make it real easy to line up, and then you just turn it to close when you want to close it. As soon as you close it, things lock down, and the pressure valve here goes into a lock position. So I'm going to plug in and show you the plug-in and the initial defaults to come up. So there we go. The initial plug-in, you get a blank screen, and it basically beeps a couple of times. This interface is kind of neat. Now this cooker has 44 pre-set up cooking options, pre-programmed cooking options. And I'll show you what I mean. Basically, you have all these different buttons here, and let me just run through the buttons real quick for you. But you have pressure for pressure cook, you have sous vide, you can do sous vide cooking in here. You have steam, the steam things, you've got saute if you just want to saute things in the pan. There's a timer and a temp button if you want to go manual. You know, you can use the pre-program and then you can hit time and temp to go manual with those settings off the course of the pre-program setting. There's a stew cook. There's the air fry that only works with the air fry lid. So I'll show you something with that in a moment. But then there's the canning option, there's a yogurt option, and there's a delay timer. You can delay time starting a cook, and I'll go into that a little later. And then there's the keep warm and cancel button. Basically, whenever you want to end a cook, you hit cancel, or whenever you want to get out of a menu option, you hit cancel. But I wanted to just show you real quick, like to show you how this works out to be 44 pre-programmed. Like if I hit pressure and it's showing me the first item here and it says custom, I could scroll down to beef and it's got all these different options, and once you get into like a food, you can tap the button and it goes into the options for that specific food. So it's got beef, and right now it's 30 minutes medium pressure cook. I can turn the knob to turn to different, you know, to like lower or higher. I can also hit the timer to adjust that time. So like, you know, if I wanted to adjust the time, I could do that. So those are some things you can do, and there's like different settings for each one of these things in here. You know, each button you press has a bunch of different options, a bunch of sub options. So there's a lot of pre-programmed versatility in here, and you can go off script with the timer and temp button, do your own settings. But I'm going to show you right now with the air fry button. Now that I have the pressure cooker lid on, I can't do an air fry really. Like if I hit air fry, it'll let me go into the menu. And so like right now I'm in custom. Let's say I want to go down to poultry, you know, I want to, you know, air fry chicken or something, and it's on medium. I can just hit here and I go into the details of it. It's got 360 degrees. You know, it's 30 minutes. I could adjust that if I want with the time temp, but let's just say I want to just start cooking, but I got the wrong lid on. So I'm going to hit start here, and you said it says lid. You know, you got the wrong lid, man. You got to switch your lid. So I'm just going to cancel that. But you put the right lid on, and as soon as I hit that button, it would have started cooking. This screen would have changed colors. It changes colors based on where it's at in the cook, so you know when things are, you know, cooking, and you probably don't want to touch anything versus when things are not. So I'm going to show you some more here. Now when a program cook ends, like let's say I did a pressure cook and then it ends, this cooker goes into an automatic keep warm mode, and it will keep warm for up to 24 hours. I mean, it will just keep rolling and keep warm for up to 24 hours. If you want to do that, I don't think that, you know, if your food has been warming for 24 hours, it's going to be, you know, the same as if you get it out as soon as it's done. But you can do it if you have to. It has the option to just default right into keep. It automatically just defaults into keep warm, and it just keeps warm for up to 24 hours, basically until you come and get it. Now there's the delay cook option. So like, you know, you could set up a cook. Let's just say I'm going into a cook. I'm just, you know, kind of faking like what I'm going to do here, and then I do a delay timer. I can go into delay. I could set this timer out to up to 24 hours of delay. And although you could set the delay out to 24 hours, they recommend that you don't delay any more than 2 hours, because if you delay more than 2 hours, bacteria is going to start growing in your food. So although they give you the option, you probably don't want to go beyond 2 hours of delay. All right, so I'm going to do a pressure cooker water test here. And so I've got a couple cups of water, and I'm going to take the water, you know, pour it into the pot there, put the lid back onto the pressure cooker, and then turn it to that lock position. So now it's locked in. And so now to do this, you hit the canning button. So I'm hitting that canning button, and then I go into the option here. I press the button, press the button, then turn to the low setting, and basically it's 10 minutes, And then from there, I'm going to just hit the button, and I hit that button and it starts, and you see it turns orange when you start it up. So that's pretty neat that it changes colors. Alright, so the cooker just reached full pressure. So you see that it turned from orange to red. While it was orange and pressurizing, it didn't show, like on some Instant Pot interfaces, they might show you about how far along they are with pressurizing. This one didn't show how far along it was with keep warm or pressurizing. It just stays orange. Then it turns red when it's done with the pressurizing process. So it's fully pressured now, and it's going to do its 10-minute countdown. Alright, as we're in the last minute, you see it doesn't go to a seconds countdown. Just like with my Instant Pot, the last minute it just shows 1 minute and doesn't show you the seconds. But we're getting to the last minute of this water test here. Alright, so it's finished with the cycle that it was cooking through and doing several beeps to let me know that it's done. Now what I could do if I wanted to do a natural release, I could just let this set. Eventually this display would go from red to blue to let me know that, you know, things are a bit cooler in there. But what I'm going to do a quick release. So it's in the keep warm mode. As I mentioned, that goes for like up to 24 hours if you leave that going. But I'm going to hit cancel now, so it went to blue for me because I canceled out. And now I'm just turning it to the side so I don't steam up my cabinets. But I'm going to hit this pressure release valve. I'm going to slide it this way and some steam will start shooting out. So always stay safely away when you do this sort of thing. Alright, now it's fully depressurized. So at this point I can basically turn it to the open position and I can take the lid off. It's still pretty hot and steamy in there though. If you're going to take that pot out, let's say you wanted to switch to doing air frying, you would have to basically get your food out, maybe with some tongs, get your food out, and then use some like high heat resistant gloves, take the pot, dump your water out, and then, you know, dry it off, put your pot back in, and then you could put whatever food in you want to put in for air frying, along with the little stand that you could put in here that I showed you earlier. And then you can put your air fryer lid on to start doing some air frying if you wanted to crisp some food up or something of that sort. Alright, so now I've got the air fry lid on. And I want to show you in the display here, when I go to air fry, some of the options that are available in air frying. Because if you look down here, you see there's a dehydrate option, and so you can do dehydration. There's a bake option there. So if I wanted to, I could turn down to basically get down into these things down there, so I can get into bake. If I wanted to do bake, it's like 30 minutes, 325. I can adjust that. There's dehydrate, like 4 hours and 120. And while in dehydrate, I could just press in there and then hit the temp button. I could like lower my temperature down further to do, you know, some deeper dehydration. So this air fryer lid offers a lot of different options. Now, one thing I wanted to point out about this, and this is similar to some other air fryers where people ask, well, how do you turn them off? Because after the cook, they continue to run, or you continue to hear a fan running. This air fry lid is similar to some others like the Cuisinart Digital Air Fry Toaster Oven and others, where they have a cool down after they're done cooking, like the New Wave Bravo XL Smart Oven does it too. But if you're using an air fryer or air fryer toaster oven or something and it's done with the cook and you still hear something running, that's the fan cooling it down. Just leave things alone until the fan stops. And depending on the cooker, that could be anywhere from 2 to 15 minutes. It just depends on the cooker. In this case, they say that the air fryer fan runs for 2 minutes after the cook is over to cool things down, and they recommend you do not open it until the fan is done running. So, you know, if you've got to stop it to spin the food or something like that, you can do that. But once the cook is over and it's doing that fan cool down, it's best, and they recommend, do not open it. So just, account for that extra couple minutes of your food being in there while things cool down and the fan does its cool down. Let that run until the fan stops. In other air fryers and toaster ovens and such, after the cook's done, you can go right in, get your food out. But this one, per their manual, they recommend that you wait the 2 minutes. And this air fry lid, when you're done cooking with it, it's going to be pretty hot. And so, it should be cool to the touch on these ends here on the fins. So, you can kind of just pull it off, and you've got to find some place to put it. If you got a rack or something, you put it there. I might just personally just try and, set it upside down like that, unless it's, if it's hot, I might just put it on a rack or something. I'll probably, before I do my first cook with it here, just get a rack just in case, and I'll check how hot things are, to see whether or not something like a rack is needed. They do recommend putting it on some type of rack when you take it off of the pot. The air fryer temperature ranges are between 85 degrees Fahrenheit and 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So you can see, as I was showing earlier, if I hit air fry and let's say I go into that dehydrate option again, and I want to take the temp, let's see if I can go all the way down to 85. So yeah, so 85 is the bottom that it goes to. And now here in air frying custom, I'm going in and I'm hitting temp, and I go up. The highest it goes is 400. So it's truly the maximum of 85 and 400. And depending on which option you have selected in air fry, the minimum and maximum available will vary. Of course, you can go down to 85 and dehydrate, but you can't go down to 85 in like custom. In custom, the lowest temp you can do is 200 degrees. And in some of the other options, it varies like that. Now for cleaning this cooker, this lid here, you basically, as I showed earlier, you can take these parts out. You can also pull this gasket out, and you can wash this by hand. You also want to take this gasket off of here, as I showed earlier. For cleaning the air fryer lid, you basically take it off, and once it's well cooled down, you can wipe it and clean this part off. You wouldn't want to use any type of wire brushes in there. As far as the pot, the manual mentions it's a stainless steel pot, but they recommend, even though it could be they recommend it's dishwasher safe, but they recommend hand washing it, even though it's dishwasher safe. So they say for the longevity of the pot, wash it by hand. So I always, with these types of cases, when they kind of use language like that, wash it by hand is what I would highly recommend. This part of it itself, you just wipe this down, and you got a condensation catcher on the back here, and that just slides out. So you just slide that out, and you can dump your water, that condensation off, and after it dries out good, you've cleaned it, you can slide that back in. But you just wipe this whole unit off to get it nice and clean. Alright, so let's test out the air frying capabilities of this Emeril Lagasse pressure cooker air fryer. And so to do that, I'm going to try air frying some French fries. And these have special air fryer instructions. You're supposed to preheat to 360 and then cook them 12 or 13 minutes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up and I'm going to put this little holder, little wire rack there inside, and I'm going to set this up for a preheat by basically, since it doesn't have a preheat option, I'm just going to set a cook that's 5 minutes longer than the actual cook time. That'll give it 5 minutes to get pretty well preheated. So we're in air fry, and I'm going to basically do a custom. So I'm doing time of 17 minutes since I'm in air fry, and I'm doing a temp of 360, so turning all the way up to 360. So there we are at 360, and our time is 17 minutes. So I'm going to just press the button in, and that's how it starts. And so now it's doing the air fry thing. I'll let it get down to 12 minutes. And so at that point we know that, you know, it's preheated for 5 minutes. And then we'll try and dump some fries in there. But for now, I'll just work on getting some fries out. Now it's still in the preheat that I've got running, but I just wanted to check. You know, it's been running for a few minutes now. This top side is very cool. It's very cool. I personally wouldn't have a personal problem just taking it off and flipping the lid over when I need to take it off, you know, from what I'm feeling here. But, you know, as I said, the manual advises using a wire rack or something. So usually you want, in the back here, I'm feeling the hot air. There is some hot air coming out of the back there. It's, you know, not hot enough to burn my hand, but it's pretty warm to let me know that there's hot air coming out. When I feel around here, I'm not feeling anything very hot at all here. So, you know, the outside is not very hot from what I'm able to tell, except for where the exhaust comes out of the back of the lid. So it's down to 12. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the lid off, and the lid basically stops. It does like this pause. I am feeling some heat from it there. I'm going to test with my heat gun and see what the temp down there is. It's only about 223. It's only in the, now the lid up top is in the over 400. It's like 420 up on the top of the lid, but down at the bottom here where I'm putting the food, it's only in the 200-degree range where I'm sticking my fries. So that's interesting. Going to put this lid back on. And once I put the lid back on, it just starts going back into the cook again. You're supposed to move the fries around partway through this cook. So I'm going to let them go for about 7 minutes, and then I'll just pull the lid off again. Maybe I'll test the temperature in there again and move the fries around, and we'll see what happens. Alright, there's 5 minutes left. I'm going to remove the lid and going to try and see about moving some of these fries around a little bit in here. Just trying to mix them up a bit. Looks like they did get blown around some in here. I think that fan is probably pretty strong. Alright, putting the lid back on. What will be the last 5 minutes plus the 2-minute cool down that it does. Alright, there's 4 minutes left. I forgot I wanted to just test temperature again, so I'm going to pop the lid off again one more time, and I'm going to test temperature in here. It's reading 282 down there, while the lid is reading like, well, it was reading like 480, 490, but it's dropping fast. So still the temperature down low is much lower than the temperature up higher in the cooker. I do see here as I'm cooking that I have things set on a medium air fry heat. I don't know whether if I've gone into the options and set it up to like high, maybe I would have gotten things a little hotter down there, but it seems to me as if you know, 360 degrees for an air fry should be 360 degrees. It shouldn't be a factor of low, medium, or high. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop it at those, although it's 4 minutes left. I want to go into the custom options, and I want to go down and see if I can adjust the medium high setting, which it doesn't seem like I can do. It doesn't look like I have a means to go down and adjust to medium or high. It's just a setting. So even though it shows medium, I'm not seeing a way to get down in there and change that. So I'm just going to go ahead and adjust my temperature to my 360. I'm going to set my time at this point down to just 3 minutes and let it finish those last few minutes of the cook. I'm going to go ahead and start it up there. But although it shows, like I said, medium, you can't seem to adjust that, and I'm in custom settings, so we'll let this finish up. And we're coming down into the last minute, and the cooker, the air fryer is not super loud. I mean, it's audible, but it's not very loud. It's not as loud as like the Power Air Fryer Oven 360 or anything like that. It's kind of like maybe a little softer than typical air fryer loud. It's in that air fryer range, but probably on the lower end overall, I would say. It's not too bad as far as the noise. Alright, now it's just finished to cook. When it finishes to cook and it's cooling, it shows this little icon that's kind of moving around, kind of spinning. It's supposed to be like a fan, I guess, showing you that the fan is in process, doing its cooling part, and that's when they recommend that you don't open up. So I'm just going to leave it closed. We'll see what we get when this fan action is done. Alright, so the fan action finished after 2 minutes. And then it does this extra beeping here. I'm going to hit cancel, see if I can kill that. Well, even hitting cancel it won't kill that beeping. Seems like it just wants to beep. Anyway, getting this lid off. Going to see what we have in here for our waffle fries now. I think they came out pretty crispy. So, despite what I'm reading with the heat gun, I think this thing can cook pretty good on the air fry. I think I may have needed to even cook my waffle fries a bit less than the amount of time that I did, because you can see they're pretty crisp. They're pretty crisp. I'm just getting this wire rack out. It's going to be easier to get the rest of my fries out this way. Alright, so we see the finished product here, and so never mind what the heat gun was saying. As you can see, that air fry lid can crisp some things up. It does for real air frying. You can see these were very well cooked, and you know, I've cooked these in other cookers about the same time and not seen them get this cooked when they're put on like a bottom rack. So this thing does pretty good as far as the air frying is concerned. And I don't even know, maybe I just shouldn't have preheated. Maybe they would have, you know, not even got this far done and still been, you know, somewhat crisp. But I think these have gotten really crisp. So anyway, we're going to switch the camera around and we're going to do a taste test of these. Alright, so let's test out a French fry here. And I'll test one other smaller one. Okay, some of the fries are a little overcooked. You know, I could have gone maybe 2-3 minutes less to get them, you know, probably just right. Maybe I should have, in accounting for the extra 2 minutes, just cut off another 2 or maybe 3 minutes from the cooking time. But every air fryer is different, and you just have to adjust to your air fryer over the time that you use it. This air fryer, the lid does really good, and it cooks things up really quick. It's a hotter side air fryer lid from what I can tell, despite what the heat gun shows in heat gun testing. It's cooking things up pretty quick and fast. So I like it. You know, it's a good multifaceted cooker with a lot of features. Definitely looking forward to playing with it some more. And so, you know, this cooker, one thing you got to keep in mind, it has a 90-day warranty, and that's it. No 1-year warranty that I can find. After 90 days, from what I can tell, you're on your own. So if you get this, you want to make sure that you test it out well in the first 90 days. And as I mentioned earlier, best deal I found was at Sam's Club, 160 bucks about. But I have a referral link in the video description. You can get this with some other accessories and such. And so, you know, you pay the same price as you always pay at Amazon, but you help out this channel, and you can get more accessories if that's your interest. And so, definitely looking forward to hearing your comments on this cooker. What do you think about it? Do you like it? Do you don't? Do you think you're going to get it? Or maybe not? How do you think it compares to others, you know, such as like the Ninja Foodie or the Mealthy CripLid and, you know, other cookers like that? Maybe if you have a new wave Duet, you know, how does this Emeril Lagasse air fryer pressure cooker Duet stack up compared to that in your opinion? Definitely looking forward to all of that. And so you can find recipes for air fryers, pressure cookers, convection ovens, all that at superwaveovenrecipes.com. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at waveovenrecipes. Also, you can always come to this YouTube channel by going to waveovenrecipes.com. And so, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and good eating.